Hello again, YouTube. It's Skylar. Welcome back to my face. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about what a trans egg is and why you, yes, you, might already be one. Alright, so before we get into it, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who recently subscribed to my channel. You guys are awesome. I'm in a very good mood right now, so I'm wearing my favorite shirt, which is my axolotl that plays a PlayStation shirt. Yes, I am a big nerd. So thank you so much. You help keep me motivated and continue to make better videos and upload more often. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So what is a transgender egg? So unlike a traditional egg, a trans egg is metaphorical. And unlike the traditional terms used in LGBT culture like closeted or in denial, trans egg refers specifically only to trans people who haven't yet themselves discovered that they are transgender. And sometimes even the people around them, whether it be friends, family, coworkers, etc., sometimes they know before the individual themselves even does. So that's why we use the term egg, because it's representing the metaphor of an egg hatching and then, ta-da, trans. And it's a great metaphor because if you think about it, it really represents the transformation between one stage of your life to another. And it also doesn't specifically imply that being trans is something that you just decide to do. It's something that you are inherently. And whether you realize it or not, trans people are always trans. They always have been. It's born that way. It's something that is inherent to the human condition. It's not something that you decide on. And one of the things that we really like to talk about is the idea of somebody's egg being cracked, which is reference to somebody who may have finally started to realize that, oh, hey, I think I might be trans, but I'm not quite sure yet. And we considered that, their egg starting to crack. And when it finally cracks and they hatch, they are realized that they are trans, and then they proceed to transition into the person that they always really were. And it's important to distinguish that cracking an egg is something that's entirely incumbent upon the individual who is trans. It's not something that should be, forced open or, pointed out. I mean, you can try to help people along the way, but you don't want an egg to turn into what's known as a rotten egg, which is where a trans person realizes that they are trans, but rather than accepting themselves and transitioning, they resent themselves and start to point that internalized hatred out onto the rest of the community and those around them. And simply, that's where it turns into the denial phase. It's a very negative aspect, and you really don't want people to go down that path because it takes a long time, and sometimes, unfortunately, I feel like some people may never get out of that stage of fully self-accepting themselves because they go down that rabbit hole of, oh, well, I'm not trans, and then they double down, and then they triple down, and then they quadruple down, and it just, their anger and frustration just continues to build and build. So it's important to just let people be and not try to, say like, oh, well, obviously that's something that a trans person would do, or because you don't want to force them into a position where they feel defensive and they're having to defend themselves. You want the person that's trans or potentially trans to come to that realization on their own, in their own time. And that's why it's also so important to let this process just happen naturally for trans people, because it may not be that they're necessarily trans. It could be that they're non-binary, somewhere within the gender spectrum, a cisgender person that has a non-traditional gender expression. There's a whole spectrum and variety of things that people can be without necessarily being fully trans. And so we don't want to label people as being something when that's perhaps not what it could be. And again, it just comes down to the individual who really wants to self-examine and perhaps see therapy, or talk to friends about it, or just really take their own time, because a lot of the times too, trans people that are eggs can oftentimes have already realized that they're trans, and maybe for external factors like social pressure or medical costs or whatever the situation is, they themselves have just decided that transitioning right now isn't the best thing for them, and that they'd like to delay that into a later time. And you really have to respect and give that person space so that they can make the decision that's best for them. Not everybody immediately comes to the realization that they're trans and then immediately starts to go get hormones or present as the gender that they are. It's not cut and dry that way. I mean, there are certain individuals that do go that route, but it's a more nuanced thing that people go through a process of self-discovery, and it's important that they always have that space and breathing room to be able to assess and judge for themselves what the best move is for them going forward. So with that said, that is what an egg is, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my content if you enjoy this. It really does help me. And please leave a respectful comment down below if you'd like to suggest any topics for future videos. I am always open to suggestion, and I love hearing feedback from you guys because, again, it helps keep me motivated. And with that said, until the next video, I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and you guys take care. Goodbye.